Okay, this problem you have to solve using the substitution method. So what that means is you have to figure out what y and what x equal to, and I'll show you what the substitution method means. It's easier just to show you. It's just basically substituting one value for another. So we have y equals 8 plus 4x, and the second equation they give us is 2y minus 20x is equal to 4. So we've got a y and an x in each equation, but we don't really know what the y and x are equal to in terms of a number yet. So we're going to use the substitution method. Now, substitution method means you can take either the y or the x and you plug it into the other equation, and then once you take this y and you plug it into this equation, then the x is in the equation. So I'll just show you how to do that. The key here is just to realize that you're plugging it in. So we'll take this equation 1 and we'll plug it in here, so to equation number 2. So we'll just number them for reference. So in equation 2, we've got 2y minus 20x equals 4. So, but we know from equation 1 that y is equal to 8 plus 4x. So if we have 2y, so 2, and then I'm taking the y value, so we know that y is the same as 8 plus 4x. So now, you know, this is the way you can think about this. This is 2y. We haven't changed the equation. I'm just writing y a different way, see, because y is the same thing. Minus 20x equals 4. So I just took this y and put it in the equation where the other y was. And now we only have x's in the equations. This little y here is just to remind you that 8 plus 4x is equal to y. It's not part of the equation. So now we have just x's, so we can solve for x. So we have our order of operations. So we have to, you can't really add because you don't know the x, but you can multiply through by the 2. So 2 times 8 is 16. Plus 2 times 4x, so you have to multiply 2 by each thing here. So that is 2 by 4x will give me 8x. And then we have to subtract 20x is equal to 4. So now we have 16, and then let's add 8 and minus 20x. So we have 8x's subtracted minus 20x's, so that gives us a minus 12x. It's equal to 4. So we want to get x alone so that it says x equals. So we have to take away 16 from both sides because we want to get that 16 away. So 16 minus 16. So we're taking away 16 from both sides. So it doesn't change the equation because you're doing the same thing to both sides, so it stays equal. So 16 minus 16 is 0. So that gives us left on this side is 12x. And 4 minus 16 is minus 12. So now the final step, we've got minus 12x equals minus 12. So you want to get rid of this minus 12. So the way to do that is you divide by minus 12 on both sides. So minus 12 divided by minus 12 is 1. And minus 12 over minus 12 is 1. So that's 1 times x is equal to 1. So now we've figured out that x is equal to 1 using the substitution. So this is where the substitution took place. So now to figure out what y is, we can use this x value. And so let's just take equation 1 because it's simpler. We know that y equals 8 plus 4x. And we know that x equals 1 from the work we just did. So 8 plus 4 x, and the x is equal to 1, so that's the same as 8 plus 4 times 1. So 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 plus 8 is 12. So the answer we get is x equals 1 and y equals 12. Now we could, I could just show here that you could do a different substitution where you could substitute these different ways, but just really quick we could have done it the other way. So if we start out with y equals 8 plus 4x, we could figure out in terms of x, so we could do a y minus 8 on both sides, so that would equal to 4x, and then we divide by 4, so we'd have a y minus 8 over 4 is equal to x. And now if we take this x from the first equation, so this was equation 1 and we just manipulated it, and then we could plug this x into equation 2, so it would give us 2y minus 20x. So now x is equal to y minus 8 over 4, and then that equals 4. So if we just work this through, we've got minus 20 divided by 4 will give us minus 5 times 8, or sorry, y minus 8 is equal to 4. So now we've got 2y, and then you have to multiply this 5 through, so you got minus 5y, and minus 5 times minus 8 is plus 40, still equals 4 there. So then you're going to have 2y minus 5y is minus 3y, and then if you take this 40 and you subtract on both sides, so you're going to have a 4 minus 40 is equal to minus 36. So then to simplify, you could take you divide by minus 3 on both sides, and that would give us y equals 12. And so using this same method, you take this, you know that y equals 12 now, so you can figure out what x is. So if we plug this y value back into equation 1, you start out with y equals 8 plus 4x, then you have y equals 12, so you put a 12 where the y was. And now you subtract 8 from both sides, so then the 12 minus 8 will give you 4, the 8 minus 8 gives you 0, so 4 equals 4x. You divide each side by 4, and that leaves you with the answer x equals 1. So, we've done the problem 2 ways, but when you get these problems, the quickest way is just to say, oh, well, I already know that y equals something, so you have the y equals form, or if they had given you x equals, the key is just to have like the variable equals a bunch of other stuff on one side, and then you plug it into the second equation. So you might have to manipulate the first equation. Like in this case, I wanted to get it to say x equals, so on this, the way I did it here is I figured out what x was equal to, but because they already give you what y equals, you can just plug it in. So you can work with x or y, but the key is you plug one thing into the other equation, you solve for one value, and then once you know that value, you can put it into either equation and figure out what the second variable was. So if we learned what the x was, you can put it in and find out what the y was. So, or you could have found out what the y was and figure out what the x was. So that's how you do substitution problems. So this is one way to do it, this is the other way, this is the easy way.